Now I am recording. Okay. All right, so we have a lot of slope that we need to review. So if you guys remember, there's 4 different ways to find slope. You can use a graph, you can use an equation, you can use a table, and you can use ordered pairs, 2 sets of ordered pairs. So before we get started, let's look at our example for Explore A, B, C, and D. And I want you guys to take a second and look and see, what do all 4 functions have in common? They all have the same slope, so very good. So write that. And there's one more commonality. See if you guys can figure out what that is. There's one more thing. Okay, but what is the 4? Your y-intercept. Awesome. So each of these have the same y-intercept as well. Same slope and same y-intercept. All right? Very good. That was just to get our brains loose. So now let's do the vocabulary part. It says the measure of the slope of a line is calculated by dividing the change in y by the change in x. So that definition that you just wrote is a very fancy way of explaining our slope formula. So look at the slope formula up there on the board. It says slope is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So what that is telling you is that your slope, how you find it, is the change in your y divided by the change in your x. It's very, very, very simple. So somebody help me out down here at the bottom, and someone tell me what our slope is for our equation. Our slope. 3, okay, because in our equation of a line, y is equal to mx plus b. M is your slope. So slope is going to be 3. Good. With the tables, it's not as straightforward. You actually have to find the slope yourself. So what you're going to want to do is find the change in the y, divide that by the change in the x. So what is your change in the x? We went from -2 to -1. Yep. And what was our change in the y? Okay, we went down. So what is our change in the y? -4. Great. So our change in the y, -4, over change in our x gives us our slope. And if you guys remember, any number divided by 1 is just itself. So if you put -4 over 1, it's the same thing as saying -4. So finding slope using a table is actually a lot easier than you'd think. Using the tables to find if a function was linear, which we did a few weeks ago, is a lot harder than just simply finding slope. You're just looking for the change in the y, and you want to divide that by the change in the x. All right, someone help me out. What do we do with our ordered pairs? Good. What is our y2? And what is our y1? What is our x2? And what is our x1? Good. So you get 4 minus -3 on top, which is 7. Yep, 4 minus -3 on bottom, which is 7. What's your slope going to be? 1. 7 divided by 7 is just 1. What about this one here at the bottom? What is y2? And y1? What is x2? It's 1. What is x1? Good. So 3 minus negative 4 on top again is 7. 1 minus 4 on bottom would be negative 3. So our slope will be negative 7 over 3. We're going to rise down 7 and we're going to run 3. Last is your graph. And to me, graph is just as easy as the other one. So what you want to do is first find your y-intercept, which is where? Negative 2, good. And where is another friendly point you can use? 2, 1. 2, 1. Go to 2, 1 and put a point there. So now you're going to calculate your rise and divide that by your run. Our rise is 1, 2, 3. Our run is 1, 2. So our slope is 3 over 2. Did you finish?
Sure.
Okay. Hang on, I'm going to give you this. All right, flip it over to the back. So, I'm going to need a volunteer for each of these. First example, who wants to go first? Tavin had his hand up first. Madeline, you can get number 2. So, Tavin, for example number 1, what do you do first? Where is that? All right, so Tavin says our y-intercept is at negative 4. And now what do we do? Where's that?
1, negative 1?
Yes, 1, negative 1. Very good. There is one at 2, 2 as well, but we're just going to use the one at 1, negative 1 because it's closer. So now what do we do?
Which one to do? You want to find the rise or the run?
Rise goes up 3, and run is right 1. So we're going to go 3 over 1, which is just the same thing as 3. Awesome job, Tavin. Everyone see how we got that? We put a point at where our intersection is. So wherever you have your grid, if you have 2 points that cross one another, if that function goes through it, that's a friendly point. Example number 2, Madeline, what do we do first? She says 19 minus negative 11, which is correct. That is our y2 minus our y1. And then what do we put on the bottom there? Good. Negative 3 minus 17. So 19 minus negative 11 is going to be 30. Negative 3 minus 17 is going to be negative 20. So we can reduce this fraction. 30 over negative 20 can be simplified. Yes, very good. You can divide 30 by 10 and 20 by 10. They both reduce by a factor of 10. And when you do that, it just becomes 3 over 2. So if you had 30 over 20, just know that's the same thing as saying 3 over 2. And don't forget your negative sign. If your negative is in either the numerator or the denominator, you're going to want to keep that with it. Who wants to help with number 3? Ricky. Madeline, just going to do 1 for now. Let everybody get 1. So Ricky, what do we do first for number 3? Yeah, so our rate of change, how much did we change here with our x? We went up 5. And what was our change in y? We went down 2. So we do our change in y over our change in x. What is our slope?
Negative 2 over 5.
Good. Negative 2 over 5. So finding the slope on a table is actually a lot easier than some of you probably thought. All you got to do is do the change in your y, divide that by your change in your x. Who wants to go next? Jack? Madison, did you raise your hand?
Yeah.
You'll go for B. Jack, what is our y-intercept?
1.
1. Yes, so 0, 1 is our y-intercept. And what do we do next?
Like down and all the way down to our next point, which would be, wouldn't that be negative 1,
1, negative 1, yes, correct. So you have a point at 1, negative 1. There's also one at 2, negative 3. But I'm going to use that one that Jack said. Now what you want to do is calculate your rise, which is negative 2, and your run, which is 1. So Jack, what's our slope?
negative 2.
Negative 2. Love it. Great job. All right, Madison, let's do the table. What do we do first?
First they add 5 to 2
Yep, so she says our change in the x is going to be 5. Bless you. What's our change in y?
plus 1,
1. So what would our slope be? 1 over 5. Not 5, guys, because y, change in y goes over the change in x. 1/5 is a lot different than 5 over 1. Great job. Who wants to do C? Duran?
No.
Yeah, Duran, let's do it. Duran, so our equation for slope is y is equal to mx plus b. So if you look at this carefully, you should be able to just see your slope.
You're going to go to negative 7 on the grid.
Just looking for your slope.
Oh. What there?
Yes, very good. 1/3. Because we talked about it. Y is equal to mx plus b. Your slope is m. So that number that goes in front of your x is your slope. Awesome job. Who wants to do the next one? Someone that hadn't gone yet. Yeah, time to step up. Charles, love it. Charles. So we have for D here, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What do we do first?
So you do 6 minus 4,
Good. 6 minus 4.
and then negative 5 minus negative 11.
And we get negative 5 minus negative 11 on bottom. So 6 minus 4 is 2. Negative 5 minus negative 11 is actually 6. Because that's like saying negative 5 plus 11. So Charles, what's our slope then?
1/3.
1/3. I love it, Charles. You reduced the fraction. That's exactly what we need.
Good job.
Good job. Is this becoming easier for y'all? Good. That's the whole point of this.
Colin, why don't you do one?
Cohen, let's do E.
Let's do E.
Cohen, we're doing E here. Cohen, what is our y-intercept? That's your x-intercept. 3. Very good. So our y-intercept is 3. And you have another friendly point where? At 1, 4? Yes. So you're going to rise 1, run 1. What's our slope, Cohen? Good. So if you see a line like that that crosses through every single friendly point, just know your slope is going to be 1. You rise 1, run 1. That's easy. Who wants to do F? You want to do F? All right, river. Good. Shh, guys, I can't hear her. What? Good. Our change in X is 1. What's our change in Y? -5. Awesome. So what's our slope? Change in Y goes on top. -5. Good. So our slope for F is -5. Yeah. Yes, you always want to run to your right, never run to the left. All right, I'm going to show y'all really quick how to do this in Rich at the bottom. So you're not going to be quizzed or tested over a question like this, but you'll need to know it for high school. So I want to show you really quick. It's actually very easy. You're going to assign a value for X that would make this, guys, pay attention, please. We go from, or we want to find a slope that is -3. So if you think about that, that's also the same thing as saying -3/1. So we want to find the change in Y, which is actually -3. So if our change in Y is -3, we need our change in X to be 1. So we would make that number 2. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's pretty cool. Couple more. Someone that hadn't gone yet. Sam. Sam raised her hand. Sam, where is our y-intercept? 0, 0. We also call that the origin. Very good. And where is the friendly point? 1, 3. Good. So we're going to rise how many? And we're going to run how many? So our slope there is 3. Jerron, you got this. Let's do it. What's your y-intercept for this one, Jerron? It's tough to tell, but that actually crosses through at 1. So go up 1 on your y. It looks like it's 0, but it's actually not. And then where's the friendly point? Yeah, 1, -2. So put a point there at 1, -2. Does everyone have that on the board? Okay. And you're going to rise down 1, 2, 3. And we're going to run once. So our slope is going to be just -3. These two are super easy, guys. Jack wants to do the third one. Jack, what's the slope here?
0.
Good. Because we don't rise, we don't run. That is a 0 fun slope.
Hey, this one look hard. Can I get it? She already went.
Did you want to do the last one?
Yes.
All right.
You better say it right. You better say it right.
Undefined. Very good. Undefined. Okay, so I hope that helped. I really hope that helped. Good. So we should be able to find slope tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now what I would do is probably take notes on the back of this page because I'm going to go through the quiz.
This is like actually the quiz.
Say I want to do that.
It's like last time, it's similar to the quiz, but it's not the same.
I wasn't here, so.
Okay, we had a really good review, but I don't think it worked. Alright, we have about 20 minutes to review, so I'm going to go through it kind of quick, but if you have questions, just stop me, because we've got to make sure we know all of this. So for number one, what is the slope of the line shown? Well, 2 is our y-intercept, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But our y-intercept is 2, very good. Where's another friendly point?
2-1.
There is one at 4-0, but there's also one here at 2-1. So we found friendly points. Now we just simply go down 1 and run 2. Our slope is -1/2. Look how easy this is. Very good.
We better not.
Number 2 says, which of the following is the graph of y is equal to x minus 5? What do y'all think?
No, it's,
You're right. It's
C.
our y-intercept is what?
-5.
-5. So immediately you get rid of this one and this one because their y-intercepts are at positive.
I see it now.
I'll show you. What's our slope?
1.
1. If there's nothing in front of your x, if you tell y is equal to x minus 5, that's like saying 1 times x. So do you see this? Our slope is going to be 1. Okay, if it was just y is equal to -5, if there was no x there, then it would be 0 slope. But you have a slope. So we're going to go up 1 over 1. This is your 1 slope. It goes up 1 over 1. Your answer is C. For number 3, it's asking you which of the functions has a negative slope. So you want to go through and read each of your functions, what they have to say about them. And after you've gotten done reading function R, you'll see that we're pledging $10 per month. So that $10 is your slope. That P is equal to 500 plus 10M. The 10 is your slope. So obviously 10 is not a negative slope. Function S, you want to go through and read this, and then when you get to the table, you just find the slope here. Rate of change. X goes from 0 to 1. What happens to the Y? By how much? It decreased by 5. So our Y would be -5. So what's our slope? -5. So we're saying it's C. Awesome. We know how to do that now. You say, how did I fail this? Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking the first time, but I didn't spend a ton of time on it. So
I'm seeing this headline. How did
the graph of the linear function is shown. Which table has the same slope? So first you got to find the slope of the graph. Put a point there and then find another one, 2, -1, or you could have gone 4, 2. Okay, so our slope, we're going to go up 1, 2, 3.
and go over 2?
And we're going to go over 2. So which of the tables have the same slope? I'm going to save our time because we're on a crunch here. It's actually going to be B, and here's why. Our x changes from 2 to 6, so that goes up 4. Our y changes from 8 to 14. That goes up 6. So 6 over 4 is the same thing as 3 over 2. If you were to reduce 6 over 4, it would give you 3 over 2. So when you calculate your slope here, just know that you got to simplify 6/4. 6 divided by 2 is 3, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that 6/4 reduces. Make sure we know how to do that. Which function has a steeper slope? Well, we talked before about the steeper slope really just means like the larger number. So for function g, our slope is 1/6. For function h, our slope is what?
Alright, so that's plus, so the y is plus 3.
Actually, yeah.
Plus 4. And our x is plus 4.
So 3 over 4?
Yeah.
H has a steeper slope.
So, correct. H has a steeper slope.
So A.
Yep, it's going to be A. H has a steeper slope of 3/4 more than G, which is 1/6. Does everyone see that?
Yeah.
If you need to, if you don't know which one's steeper between 1/6 and 3/4, what I would do is just pretend like you're plotting a point and then do the slope. Go up 1 over 6, and then you can see that that slope is not very steep. So 1/6 slope is pretty much like as close to a flat line as we're going to see. Consider the graph of the line. Which equation has a larger rate of change than the line shown? So, yes, but let's show you why. Our rate of change of the line shown is 5 over 1. I don't like using black. So, if our slope is 5, obviously the only one here that's bigger than 5 is C. 5 over 2 is actually smaller.
Yeah, I didn't know anything other than
Oh. Oh, you didn't know it was any bigger? Okay. Gotcha. Okay, for this one, really all you're wanting to know, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one, but we've just got to understand when you see a table, wherever your x is at 0, the y value in the ordered pair there is going to be your intercept. Because if you were to plot 0, -2, that'll be right there. So for function k, your y-intercept is this -2. So if you see this problem, and you read through the answer choices, and you see this function j has a y-intercept of 4, it does. Function k has a y-intercept of -2, it also does. Okay, so if you see a table, you've got to know how to find a y-intercept in that as well. Number 8, the function y is equal to 4x minus 2 is represented by which one? I'm not going to help you. Someone figure this out, but don't say it out loud. That's a negative slope, right? So it couldn't be C. What do we think it is?
B as in boy.
B as a boy. Yeah, C is a negative slope. D is a slope of 1 over like 5 or something. A doesn't even have a y-intercept. So our y-intercept of -2 has to be one of the other 3. And B does have a slope of 4. We went up 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. Number 9 is a lot easier than it looks because you see this problem and you get intimidated by how wordy it is. But all you gotta do is, it says Alicia and Melissa did jumping jacks, and the table shows the amount of jumping jacks per minute that Alicia did. Guys, the graph shows the amount of jumping jacks per minute that Melissa did. So, first we're gonna do slope of the table. Our change in x is 1. Our change in y, we go from 30 to 60. It went up 30, very good. So 30 over 1, our slope for Alicia is 30. So what that's saying is she did 30 jumping jacks for every 1 minute that went by.
Should be one of us,
So-
that's the,
Huh?
should be one of us, and that's the, that's 240.
240 jumping jacks. I think you guys can do 242 jumping jacks in like 2 minutes
Jumping jacks
though.
are easy.
You can do that. You can do way more than 30 in a minute, I
What the
think.
hell?
'Cause that would just be 1 every 2 seconds.
Just
I can do
one,
more than that.
just like with it.
Yeah, so this number 30 would go over the 1.
What did jumping jack help with?
Cardio, just like moving. Now we're gonna do Melissa. So with the table, it's actually really easy because we're just do rise over run. And if she's done 0 minutes worth of jumping jacks, that means she's done 0 jumping jacks. So this point at 0, 0, you can start there. Because if she hasn't started the timer, it means she hasn't started doing jumping jacks, so that would be a friendly point. Another friendly point, right here. So we're gonna do our rise over our run. Our rise goes up from 0 to 100 real quick, and then our run goes from 0 to 4. So if we do 100 divided by 4, what does that give us?
25.
Good. So Alicia did 30 jumping jacks every minute, and Melissa only did 25 jumping jacks every minute because she's slower than Alicia.
Oh, God.
They're both probably out of shape if it took them 8 minutes to do 240 jumping jacks.
I can do that too.
Maybe tomorrow after the quiz we'll see how many jumping jacks we do in 8 minutes. But anyway, we would come over here and say Alicia did 5 more jumping jacks every minute than Melissa did. Any questions on this question?
No.
Because I think this is actually very, very easy. All you gotta do is figure out the rate of change, and it's obvious that Alicia did 5 more every minute than Melissa did. Would you guys be able to do that without me? Is the question.
Yes.
I hope so.
Are y'all good back there?
No, he is messing up. Just keep serving the juice box at me. It's your juice box.
Alright, hey guys, only 3 more questions. Number 10, they think it's C, what do y'all think?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you were to make D into an equation, what would that look like? It is undefined, but if we wanted an equation similar to that one, what would it be for D?
To be an X instead of a Y.
There's no X.
It's an X instead of a Y, yeah, because we're on our X axis. That's an undefined slope. This would actually be X equals 4 instead of Y equals 4. So that Y equals 4 means we have a 0 slope, and our Y-intercept is 4, so it would be C. A lot of people in first period and even some in second were saying it's A, but that is just a point. That is not a function. That's just a point on the graph. That's like an ordered pair of 0, 4.
So undefined is like any vertical.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So this one says that Emily works 2 jobs, one as a secretary and one as a waitress. The table represents the amount of money she makes per hour as a secretary, and the graph represents how much money she makes per hour as a waitress. So, rate of change again, all you're doing here is figuring out the slope. In the time she worked, that's going to be our X. She went from the 5th hour to the 6th hour. So that would be 1 hour. And in 1 hour, she went from $125 to $150 earned. So how much money did she earn in that hour?
25.
So her money got up from 125 to 150 in 1 hour. So she made $25 in that hour. With the graph, again, you have a friendly point at 0, 0, because if she hasn't worked,
$30.
if she hasn't worked, then she hasn't made any money. So that 0, 0 is the point that you want to start with. And you have another friendly point. Jack, please stop. You have another friendly point at 130. So rise over run, we went from 0 to 30. And our run, we went from 0 to 1.
She makes more than
So she makes more working as a waitress. Takes her a little bit longer to make that money as a secretary because she gets $30 an hour as a waitress. So B. Number 12. Someone want to come up here and do number 12. All right, Ricky's got his hand up first.
I've never seen it before.
So let's find the slope. Good. So we found the friendly point and we just counted up 3 over 4. Does anyone have any questions about slope? Alright, I think y'all are going to do awesome tomorrow on our makeup quiz. That's just me though.
I guarantee you, everyone takes 100.
If everyone makes 100
We get a
We're
free
getting
candy
so
bar.
right.
something, yeah.
He's up there. He's gonna be the one.
Huh? I have right there, I have 4 crisp, 2 dark, and 10 almond. That is all I have.
What is wrong with you? I'll take that home. I'm gonna eat dark chocolate.
You gonna put
Yeah,
a
it's gonna be this one.
Alright, how much time do we have? 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Let's do a quick look it.
Oh.
Let's do a very quick look it. We have 10 minutes still.
I like your You can always have her.
Boys. Alright, y'all sit down, join the look it. What are we playing?
Sassy Among Us kid.
No, that's the Among Us kid. No, let's do Crypto.
Ooh, a new one.
Crypto.
There is a new one. Y'all want to try the new one?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it came out like
Fast instructions go scram for players, answer questions to take other players.
I am hair brushing.
Do you want to do teams or solo?
Solo.
Did you stop recording earlier? Oh my god. You did stop.
Okay.
Did you record you telling me to
Oh,
stop
the
right back?
It's still going, guys.
The recording didn't see how to go, Chili.
It's got to be 45 minutes.
Can we see the
Don't worry about it, guys.
I gotta re-go a little bit. You know?
Can I see the angle of it?
No. You can look at it on YouTube later.
Oh, kids move each other in class.
That's how quickly join.
Hey, Jack, this is Greg. Can I get sure. And if depending on how big the crisps are, I'll.
So we have 4 crisps.
Okay.
Hey, Tabby, give me a crisp.
No?
You haven't heard the song?
You told me you give it.
No, I'm saying you have to make up.
All right.
All right.
Appreciate that, Tavin. Knocking these out.
What?
3, 1, and 9.
Is it more in here than the 4 you have to say?
Wait, no, Ted, I've never had one before. I want one. I've never had one before. Ted,
Oh, hold on, I got a dollar. Too bad. Wait a minute. And I
I
have
have 3 crisp, 1 dark, and 9
And
almonds.
Miss Rose.
It's Isabella.
Take off what?
that's sad.
Take a picture together.
Oh. As like payment? I don't want cookies. Yeah. We have those left. 3 crisp, 1 dark, and 9 almonds. Almond?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, 1 more minute to join.
It says gun on it.
Doesn't mean it is West.
Get a line.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I guess this is everybody. Oh, I'm sorry. Just look up on the board. We're about to leave. We only have a few minutes. Yeah, I don't really know. Good luck, though. This is a new game for me. We played it in Jag Academy, but we did the teams one.
Oh, and you're the uniform? That looks complicated.
Have a bad day.
I knew it was
Got the J and the train. Me?